Here we have Al Unser Jr. Turbo Racing for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Fabio bought this for me while we were out and about, so thank you, Fabio. Yeah. Anyways, it's as you would guess, a racing game. It looked like a pretty interesting one. It seemed like it had a nice sense of speed and also a fun sort of idea going with it, with, its boost mechanics and turboness and whatnot, and I played a little bit of it. I didn't really get far in the the main mode, Grand Prix, whatever it was called. I kind of just fucked around with some time trials, and yeah, it's neat. Though I do have some concerns. Like, I feel like it might be a little hard to sort of get into it and actually keep up with all the racers and whatnot going forward. But I don't know. It gives off a decent first impression, and certainly it's a thing. It's also an NES game that saves, so that's pretty cool. You can tell because of the gold sticker on the back, basically saying what it says. You can see it, hopefully. Yeah. We have Super Nintendo stuff. This one, not terribly exciting, mainly because it's just a label upgrade. But I got Super Soccer. Now, I originally bought a copy of Super Soccer at Con Bravo 2017. Not that there was really anything terribly wrong with it. I actually still have it here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there is a little bit of, like, grime or dirt or whatever the fuck that is on the cartridge that, I couldn't get off. But that was minor, and also I guess the second reason for getting this label upgrade is for the back, so that way I could take, I'm not sure if I took the back from this Super Soccer or the back from this Super Soccer to replace and put on the back of Super Valis 4, which I'll show you here. The plastic piece, the plastic back on Super Soccer was originally on my copy of Super Valis 4. So I just basically swapped it. So that's two reasons why I rebought Super Soccer. In fact, this game I believe is on the... actually it is, yes, on the Super Famicom Classic Edition. But not the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. I also recently learned that this is actually essentially part of a series that, pretty much never left Japan, called Super Formation Soccer, and this was like the only one we got. It's a decent soccer game. I'd like to play it some more, revisit it. But hey, I mean, the Super Nintendo has more soccer games than any other Nintendo console, so got a lot of options. But I guess also sticking with the soccer theme, here we have J-League Prime Goal for the Super Famicom. It's a game by Namco, so it's got to be good. Is it good? Yeah, it's not bad at all. I will say, if you're going to play this, though, be sure to actually turn the music on, because if you don't, you get this really annoying and aggravating crowd noise. There were 3 of these. The third game actually was released in Europe and Japan, but of course none of them got released in North America. I played a little bit of this, It's not too bad, actually. I do wish that maybe the players moved a little faster or something, from what I remember playing it, but it's not too bad, actually. I'd say pick it up. It's a common as fuck game, so yeah, I'd say do it. Let's see, how about some Nintendo 64 stuff? This is one I should have talked about in the last episode, but again, since it's a label upgrade, it's not the end of the world. NBA In the Zone 2000. Now, when I first talked about this, well, actually I should talk why I rebought this. My other one was fine for the most part. It's honestly just minor stuff, but I think basically when the opportunity arose, I decided to rebuy this. My other one had a tiny bit of marker next to the, ESRB rating, and may have been slightly scuffed and faded, and I do really mean slightly scuffed and faded. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I thought, fuck it, why not? I had the opportunity to get this. But when I first talked about this, I was complaining about how, or not complaining, I should actually say explaining, and, ranting completely justified, that this game was being artificially risen in price. Like, people were trying to overhype the fuck out of this. Like, I understand it's a Konami sports game, but let me tell you, NBA In the Zone 2000 is not the same as International Superstar Soccer 2000. Just because they're both the 2000 entry into, a series of sports games by Konami, that doesn't mean, they're both rare, if you get what I mean. I also kind of learned that this series, I didn't really know what to say or even think about it, but, after seeing Glenn Plant's review of all 3 games, he does actually bring up a very interesting point and interesting shed of light to this franchise and how this is pretty much the one really worth playing the most. Though, of course, with the plethora of other basketball games on the N64, you have to wonder, is it really worth it? This isn't the most common game, but I still don't think it's as rare as people made it out to be, though maybe it's gotten a little less bad since last time. I did check here and there, but, yeah. Let's see. Okay, let's move a little faster, maybe. I don't know. Here we have Parlor Pro 64. I believe the full name is Parlor Pro 64 Pachinko Jiki Simulation. It's one of 3 pachinko games on the N64, and just like, say, other Japanese N64 games, like Pachinko 365 Nichi, I had some concerns about this. I saw people sometimes charging up the ass for this. It didn't appear online. It's like, why? Why the fuck are these games like this? Who cares or knows about them? I mean, maybe they're a little more recognized and well known than, a plethora of pachinko games on the PS1 or even Saturn. But, come on. But yeah, I got this. I played a little bit of it, seen alt footage of all of them. They almost all really look the same. They still have the same kind of idea of you going around in a 3D, environment, a pachinko parlor with that same music done. Yeah. It's by Telenet Japan. And Irem did some collaboration. Hammer and Harry maybe on there. Yeah. All-Star Baseball 99. I have yet to actually sit down and play a full 9-inning game of this, but from what I did play of it, it seems like it's going to be another one of those cases where it's going to be, tough to play and win. Though, as a game, it definitely seems to be of quality, It's a decent first entry into the All-Star Baseball series, so, yeah, it's not too bad. And the last game I got here, probably the most interesting, maybe, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Yeah, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. There's actually a variation in a gray cart, but I have the black cart version, because why not? So as you may know, this is obviously like a tactical, very realistic first-person shooter, that has a lot of strategic elements and, going to it, so it sticks out from the crowd in that sense. And unlike, say, the PS1 version of Rainbow Six, this one actually kept a lot of those strategic elements and planning in mind. And, well, if you look at it and see it, it's pretty impressive. They did a nice job porting this to the N64. I mean, sure, the Dreamcast version is better, and I imagine the real way to go, because this was primarily a PC game, is on the PC. It's not too bad, actually. I might play it some more. I might try and complete a couple rounds, because it's a very interesting sort of ordeal, though I don't see myself actually getting into, Tom Clancy games and whatnot, but, yeah. I'm glad this made it onto the N64. Okay, let's see, got a 3DS game here. This is Asphalt 3D. This was, of course, a Year 1 title for the 3DS. I'm pretty sure it was a launch title. In fact, I very much remember hearing all about it, saying how that this game was very lacking in content and just a lackluster experience overall, and how it wasn't worth the full price. I remember it all, man. I remember all those fucking videos. Well, here we are 8 years later from the 3DS, and, well, there haven't been a shit ton of racing games since then, and, hey, I love racing games. I mean, there's no shortage of them, but in the case of the 3DS, there's really not a ton of them. So, racing fans, if you're into racing games, your options are slim, so maybe this is worth checking out. I played a little bit of this. It's not too bad. It definitely feels very, like, there definitely is a sense of limitation to it. But it's not too bad, and like I said, you don't have too many options on the 3DS, and with the price it is now, I'd say, sure, why not go for it, Yeah. Here we have some Sega Saturn games. Let's start off with a 2018 purchase, and therefore should have talked about it before. This is Tooge King the Spirits 2. Tooge King the Spirits 1 was actually released in North America under the name High Velocity Mountain Racing Challenge. It's racing in the mountains. Mountain pass, that's what Tooge means. It means pass. And King the Spirit, so I guess it basically means like pass king. You know, you're the king of the mountain pass and the spirits, whatever the fuck that is. It's a neat little game. I will say the multiplayer is actually kind of cool. How, you know, it goes to split screen when the two players are far enough, but if they're right next to each other, it literally, you know, becomes one screen. Like, the view becomes one screen. The camera focuses on one screen, basically. It's actually kind of interesting how they did it with that. Music is decent, you know, there's a lot of music to it. But again, just like so many other fucking racing games from the years 1994 to 2000, there's a severe lack of courses. And yes, you have some modes, you even have some magazine scans and pictures of people with their cars as an extra for some interesting reason. But again, it's like, even with the ability, you know, like King Battle or whatever it is to unlock more cars, there's still only like 3 courses. They try to make it say 6 because it's like, oh, here's anti-clockwise, and yes, they say anti-clockwise, they don't actually say counterclockwise, where, you know, you go forward and go backward on the track. It's like, no, it's still 3 fucking courses. It's like what I'm sure I've said this before, and I'll fucking gladly say it again. You know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to play the 6 courses, you know, they might look at the extras, maybe do multiplayer, and that's that. Even if they go through the, you know, option to, even if they go out of their way to, you know, unlock other cars, there's still not much to do here. I don't get why they didn't realize that so many times. Over and over, they make this same fucking mistake with only having, you know, like 3 or 6 courses and just, oh, we'll reverse them, there you go, more courses. No. Stop with that. It leads to bare bones shit, especially even if you have a good foundation, you know, it's just, come on. I do feel that, like, cornering and whatnot may be a bit of a hindrance, though, with the many option tuning you can do in this game. Maybe that's not so much a problem if you fuck around with it a bit. But yeah, it's decent. There's really not a ton of racing games on the Saturn, so that's why I had to kind of get it. But yeah, I still have some complaints with it. Let's see. We have a 2018 purchase, or 2019 purchase, first Saturn game I got this year. That's Hanagumi Tyson Columns. It's Columns with Sakura Wars or Sakura Tyson characters. It's not quite the exact same. Like, you can actually, unlike regular other Columns, you can actually send, you know, attacks to your other player, essentially like a lot of other puzzle games. So you can do stuff like, you know, fill up their screen with garbage blocks, or, you know, clear, you know, a certain amount of blocks on your screen. It's actually pretty cool. It's a nice little addition and twist to Columns. And hey, you know, even if you own Columns on the Sega Genesis, now you can play Columns with the Sega Saturn controller. And if you want regular ass Columns, you can get the Columns Arcade Collection Sega Ages game. I don't remember the exact name, but that was also a Saturn game too. Anyways, get this. Yeah, there was a sequel on the Dreamcast called Hanagumi Tyson Columns 2. And that one kind of saddens me because that one's not 4 players, despite the 4 players on the Dreamcast. You sons of bitches, what the fuck is wrong with you? How did you not see that? Anyways, yeah, pick this up. Good stuff. Alright, last Saturn game here, also a 2019 purchase. Here we have Worldwide Soccer Sega International Victory Goal Edition, or just Worldwide Soccer, yeah. Rivals real soccer action. The finest teams in the world, such as Brazil, the United States, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and 6 other international teams, prepare to volley, bicycle kick, and head their way to a championship. The game's pretty good. It's a basic soccer game, but it's very playable and enjoyable. Works about as well as you would think. You know, it was a launch title for the Saturn in North America. Its cover art is great. You know, this guy just screaming in victory, whereas another player just rolls around lying defeated. It's It's great stuff. Music's great in this game. Music was made by Jun Sonoe, I think it's just Jun Sonoe. Same guy who, of course, made music for the likes of Sonic Heroes and Sonic Adventure and all that shit. So, yeah, that's a very good sign. But yeah, really good game, actually. It's basic, but it's nice. I'm sure the Worldwide Soccer games probably got better on the Saturn because there were 2 more. But good stuff, though. I'm really glad to have this. Okay. Here we have a Dreamcast game. And what do you know? More soccer. This is Striker Pro 2000. One of the handful of soccer games for the Dreamcast, and one of 2 to be released in North America. The other one being Virtua Striker 2. Of course, it's soccer licensed by, UEFA. Is that how it says? Maybe it's UFI. Maybe that's how people pronounce it. Maybe they don't just say UEFA, but I'm saying it for this sake. Back in November, I got the PlayStation 1 version just because I really wanted a soccer game for the PlayStation 1, even though that's not an exclusive, because, well, here's the Dreamcast version, and while playing them back-to-back, it's no surprise that this one's better. Aside from, of course, better graphics, it just feels much more smoother in control, even with analog in mind for the PS1 version. So, yeah, there's that. Neither game has really received that greater reviews, but I don't know what criticisms I would have of it, because I don't know if I'm not that educated or known in this sort of, spot of gaming, but I still think it was, a worthy purchase, and I liked it. I definitely look forward to revisiting it. It was pretty fun. It just feels right playing soccer with a Dreamcast controller, I guess. Okay, what are we doing on time? Yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that, for now. We'll talk about some more games in another episode.